So there are a ton of towers in Cube Defense. I mean, look at this. There's a ton of these towers here that, like, you can buy. There's so many. Which ones are the good towers and which ones are the not so good towers? And not only these towers, there are a few others that we'll also be talking about, notably the Lord Zorvuzo, Golden Light Turret, and Orbital Cannon. So we're going to be going over multiple towers here in this video, so please consider hitting the like button down below if you learned something from this video. I put a lot of effort into this and I hope you enjoy. Oh yeah, one more thing. These are all opinionated statements. This entire video is my opinion. Do note that there may be other opinions that differ from mine. All right, let's talk towers. So I have made a list of all the towers, 39 in total, excluding event towers alone. Towers you cannot currently obtain, they're not in this list. If you are interested in those towers, there is a card hopefully in the top right. Click that, you can check out the limited towers in the game currently. But back here, we're going to talk about the towers that are currently in the game, and we're going to rank them based on their use. So our first group we are going to be jumping into is the early game group, and this one is meant to be your thing to keep you alive in the very beginning while you have very little money. And the first one on our list, coming in at number 7 in our placement, is the Flamethrower. It's actually a good tower because it does a good direct damage to cubes. However, it can fall behind with spam, and its direct damage may not be enough to deal with some of the cubes that get sent. Number 6 is the Battleship. The Battleship is an effective water tower that does a good amount of direct damage. However, it is pretty bad against spam, and it is limited again by water. Next one, the Shocker. It comes in at number 5. It does a really good splash damage, as every time it fires, it will hit every cube in its range, meaning if it can kill one type of cube, no matter how many there are of that type of cube, it's going to kill them all. However, it is large, and you have to have a lot of room to place this tower. Next one up at number 4 is the Mortar, which is a great tower because it does a lot of splash damage and has a good direct damage. However, these benefits only really come at level 4, so make sure if you use this tower, bring it to level 4 first. It's not going to be that efficient otherwise. Stealth Bomber is the next tower in our list, coming in at number 3. This tower has a large range and can deal a lot of both splash and direct damage. As an extra benefit, it can see shadow and metal cubes at all levels. However, this tower is pretty expensive to place and upgrade. The next tower, and probably my favorite tower in this list, is the Blade Spinner. The Blade Spinner is a great tower because just like the Shocker, it hits all cubes in its range at a much quicker fire rate actually. However, it has a much smaller range, but like the Shocker, if it can kill a type of cube, it can kill every single one of them in that wave. However, do note it does not have Shadow Sight at any level and only gains Metal Sight at level 5. So those are two negatives there. Finally, our number 1 tower, and probably something you may never see, is the Golden Light Turret. This is an incredibly rare tower. It is only given by the devs. However, it has an insane amount of damage depending on your level, as its damage is dependent on how many levels you have, and it is very cheap to upgrade. However, this tower does have a 1% chance of exploding and being removed from your inventory anytime you place it, so not many people use this tower even if they own it because of this. So that is the early game list there. Hopefully that list is going to help you out in determining what tower is the best one for you. Let's get on ahead into the mid-game towers. We have a lot here with a total of 14, and 14th place is actually going to be the Light Turret. Light Turret is a starter tower, and it's honestly a good middle ground tower as it can deal with both high HP cubes and a spam of cubes, but it's as a low level tower, it doesn't do a lot of damage by itself and is really just not great in general. Plasma Tower, it comes in at number 13 as another starter tower, and this one is better than Light Turret because it does much more damage than the Light Turret. However, it has a reduced range and it cannot see shadows, so that is two big negatives towards the Plasma Tower. Next tower on our list will be the Sea Battery. My tower, I made this tower actually. It's a great tower because it's got good range and it has good direct damage. However, it's limited to water placement and it is not that good at handling a lot of spam. The next tower is the Bubble Tower, which is a good tower because it has a long range and a good direct damage. The negative to this tower is the fact that it has a very slow fire rate, so that definitely counters the high damage this tower actually deals and cannot handle spam in any way, shape, or form. The next tower on this list is the heavy turret, very similar to the bubble tower in function as it has a long range and has a slow fire rate, but a good amount of damage. It's not going to be great for spam, but it's going to do really good in your direct damage category. It's going to take out your higher HP cubes a lot easier compared to some other towers. Your next tower in the list is the submarine, a great tower for dealing damage across a large portion of the map. It's got an insane range. However, it doesn't do a good amount of direct or splash damage. It's kind of weak in that side. It is a water tower, but one other benefit is on level 4 and 5 of this tower, it does have a shadow sight perk, which will give shadow sight to every single tower in its range. The next tower is the missile launcher, very similar to the submarine in function. However, it does more damage and more splash damage to the cubes in its range. It has a pretty wide range too. It's a really good tower, but it is semi-expensive and it may not be worth the inventory slot compared to some other towers like our number 7 here, the anti-cube defense, another missile tower. It is really weak when it comes to direct damage. However, its splash damage is very, very impressive and can take out a lot of spam of cubes with its explosive capabilities. It also has an incredibly wide range, and at level 5 it is a very powerful tower. However, it is very expensive to reach level 5. Next tower on our list is the Star of Zorvuzo. This tower is obtainable in Tox medium mode. It is very good because it deals a lot of direct damage to cubes that have higher HP. However, this tower does take a minute to ramp up to that damage, and it has a cooldown period after firing. So absolutely horrible against spam, but absolutely amazing against high HP cubes. The next tower is the Garrison Tower, our only tower in the game that is purchasable and sends something down the line. This tower is good because it does a lot of damage at higher levels and it can tank a bunch of damage. Good pun. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah? No? Don't really? I'm 0 for 3 on my puns. This is not good. This tower is also very expensive. It's going to be very hard to upgrade quickly. And it also is better on some maps compared to others. The next tower coming in at number 5 is the Rail Minigun, a very powerful quick firing tower that does a lot of damage and is also a good middle ground tower that can deal with some spam cubes and some high HP cubes. However, this tower is very, very expensive, but it does have a very large range. However, this tower has a counterpart, and this is our number 3 slot, the Mounted Minigun. The Mounted Minigun is really good because not only is it similar to the Rail Minigun and being a good kind of both sides tower with both spam and high HP cubes, but it's a lot cheaper too. And it's got a moderately good range. It is worth using, in my opinion, over the Rail Minigun if you need to conserve cash better. So moving on from the Mounted Minigun, our number 2 slot is the Railgun. And the Railgun is a great tower because it does a ton of direct damage, and you definitely need to bring this tower if you own it because its damage is incredible. It has a slow fire rate, and it is expensive to upgrade, but this tower has an incredible range, and the damage it deals very much makes up for those two negatives. Finally, our number 1 slot in the mid-game tier is the Tomb. The Tomb is a great tower because not only does it do a lot of direct damage, not only does it daisy chain its damage through multiple cubes, but it also temporarily freezes those cubes that it hits. It is a really, really, really good tower, and it's honestly a little overpowered and may get nerfed eventually. But for the moment, it is a great tower to have. This is a very expensive tower as well. It's going to be hard to upgrade and maintain. So note that too. So we've gotten through over half of our towers already, and while we're here, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button down below if you would like to see more content similar to this. You don't have to, your choice, not mine, but I don't know. I think this is a good YouTube channel, so. We're moving on into the late game towers. These are the heavy hitters. They're going to be doing a ton of damage, and we've only got 4 of them in this list. First one being the Orbital Satellite, ranked at number 4. It is actually a pretty bad tower. It does a good amount of splash damage and a pretty good direct damage. However, its fire rate is incredibly slow and is often not worth bringing because of that, combined with the fact that it is very expensive. It is a weak tower compared to many others. Next tower on the list is the Orbital Cannon, which can be obtained via a game pass or reaching level 30. This tower has a super high direct damage, however, it has a very slow fire rate too. Not as slow as the Orbital Satellite, however, but like the Orbital Satellite, it has a splash damage. Though weaker, it can be a bit helpful in your defense. It is also very, very expensive to place and upgrade. The next tower is the Lord Zorvuzo Tower, which is actually incredibly powerful. It has a super high direct damage, maxing out at 108. Like the star, it ramps up its power over time, and once it starts firing on a cube, it will not stop firing on a cube, even whenever that cube leaves its range. However, this tower is incredibly expensive and is actually the most expensive tower to max out. And our final tower in this list is the Sun Temple, an incredible tower that does a super high amount of direct damage and also has a really good range. However, the temple cannot target sun cubes, is incredibly expensive to upgrade, and to max out its damage, you have to sacrifice other towers to it, meaning it's going to cost you even more to get a lot of damage from this tower. But with all of these negatives combined, it is still often worth the use because it is very powerful at its max. So that is all of the direct damage towers, all of them that are used mainly in your strategies for damage. We've gone over them. It's time to move on into the support section with all of our helpful towers that are going to help out your gameplay in other ways. So the first one in our list of support is going to be number 10, the wall. The wall tower is trash. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's very expensive to place, weak, doesn't do a lot of damage. It's basically pointless. Don't bring this tower. Don't use this tower. It's stupidly expensive. It can also be placed on water. Yeah, no, don't bring this tower. It's very bad. Next tower is the spike trap / golden spike trap. They're pretty much the exact same thing, just with one of them having a little more damage. They're only useful whenever you need to kill a cube that is behind your front line, and really they're not that needed, as you can just place in the tower to deal with that leaked cube. They also do not give money back for dealing damage, so they are cost ineffective in that sense. Finally, they do get removed upon the next wave, so they are very temporary too. The next tower on our list is the glue gun, which slows cubes down on the track. It's relatively cheap, however, it does almost no damage, and its effect is very weak in slowing down those cubes and can be replaced easily by much stronger towers. The next one is the Temple MK2, which is useful in very rare scenarios when you need a lot of direct damage. So whenever you're playing Nightmare or Trial of Zervuzo or Endless, this is when you want to use this tower. It does very little damage by itself and is very expensive to max out, but it can be helpful towards your other temples as it enhances them in multiple ways. Next tower on our list is the golden glue gun, the counterpart to the glue gun. Basically, a better version of the glue gun, can be unlocked upon winning 125 games. It is very good at slowing down cubes, does an okay direct damage, and while the slowing isn't game changing, it can be helpful, but like the glue gun, can be replaced with other slowing towers. The next one on our list, ranked at number 5, is the campfire, which basically gives a few buffs such as range increase, shadow sight, and cost reduction to the cubes in its range. It may not always be worth the slot in your inventory though, as you may have another tower that will be more effective in helping you win your match. Number 4 on our list is the plantation, which is a good tower at giving cash out to everybody in your game and making the whole team's life a lot easier. However, note that this tower doesn't give nearly as much money as the factory and the oil rig can, so it's more used as a compromise tower to make it easier for people to get some money every wave. Next tower in our list will be the Enhancer, which is actually a really good tower because it increases the fire rate of all cubes in its range. However, you do have to activate an ability to do this and is not constant. This ability though is very powerful and is well worth the use. It is very good and definitely something I suggest bringing. Next tower of importance is the factory. This tower basically gives you extra income every wave. The problem with factory is that by upgrading it, you are removing some of your income from your early game, making early game a lot harder to survive. However, if you make it to the late game, you're going to be off a lot better. The same is also true for our number 1 tower in the list, the oil rig, because it functions very similar to the factory in the fact that it gives you a lot of money later in the game. However, it is much more expensive and it must be placed on water, so there are a lot of benefits at a higher cost. So that is our support section. Now we're going to move on to our other section that don't directly support other towers or kill off cubes, but do other things to make your gameplay easier. Both of the towers in this list are basically only there to give you extra placement room. Number 2 being the raft. The raft is actually an pretty tower because it's not needed often. It can be placed on water and you can put land towers on it, so it's not really that good. However, you can stand on it, so that's a slight bonus to that. The other tower that is going to be helpful for bringing you extra space on your map is the Defabricator, as it eliminates objects on your map and clears up the area around you. However, just like Raft, this tower isn't always necessary. It removes objects off your map, clearing up space for more towers. However, oftentimes you do not need more space, and so this is not often required to bring. Final two towers are our gold towers. The first of which, coming in at number 2, is the Bucket. The Bucket is basically a meme tower that has a rare chance to give you gold. It is not worth it because this is a significant risk and is very hard to place in high counts in a game. However, if you get very lucky, you will get a golden bucket and you will be given some gold, though I don't know how much that is. For a much more reliable source of income, you can use the gold mine, as it will give you gold every single wave. The negative towards this is the fact that you have to upgrade it quickly to get that gold, and it is pretty expensive to upgrade. Plus, this tower is also very expensive in the store and requires 5,000 gold, so it is a negative there as well. So that, my friends, is 39 towers that we have gone over today. Hopefully this video is helpful to you in some way. Thank you again so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you did enjoy to find more content similar to this. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Have a good day, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.